Hey everyone, I'm Lorraine, founder of Building Better Brains, and today I want to talk about the ongoing dyslexia debate and what we need to be aware of regardless of where you stand on the debate. And it's really interesting because I'm in a lot of different Facebook groups and different other groups elsewhere and so forth, and it's always comes up where someone will suggest that there's more to dyslexia than a phonological processing difficulty or a phonological deficit. And then, people kind of get their backs up and say it's been determined, that's what it is. And truly and honestly, there is still debate around that there's constant research coming out to the point where, in fact, some countries are not defining it just as phonological difficulties and even have different names for that, which I'm going to get into in a minute. But if you are someone, if you're a mom who's feeling stuck or frustrated because your child's not making progress, they're still having these ongoing issues, it can leave you really confused, and it could be that there's other factors that are being overlooked. And this, like, to me, regardless of what you want to diagnosis or label you want to throw on things, let's talk about what else could be going on with your child in terms of why there is reading breakdown that is not getting them, getting you getting the results or helping them to get to the, make the progress that they want to have. So, number one thing you want to realize is that some kids have more than one area breakdown. And so a lot of kids might be diagnosed with dyslexia, but they also have visual processing issues, for example. I see this all the time where the kid has severe dyslexia, definite issues with pretty severe or even moderate issues with a phonological deficit. And there is, however, visual processing issues. They might be mild, they might be severe. Oftentimes they're mild to moderate and they get missed, or they're acknowledged, but they pretty much go unaddressed, and it's just seen as they just need extra practice and to learn these tricks, like following with their finger and all of that type of stuff, like the BD trick to teach them to, recognize the difference and so forth, which usually is not enough. And this is the thing that holds these kids back. So if they have a diagnosis of dyslexia, visual processing maybe is acknowledged, oftentimes they're just going to get tutoring or instruction that's focused on the traditional way of addressing just true dyslexia in terms of a phonological deficit. So what is really needed, as I say all the time, is a bottom-up approach where we address retained primitive reflexes, cerebellum development, vision exercises, ocular motor exercises, all those types of things that are going to improve their visual processing so that this isn't the thing that's holding them back, so that everything is working on automatic as opposed to manual. So the second thing you want to be aware of, point number 2, is that recent research does find that the visual system in dyslexics works differently. And I can already feel that I'm rocking the boat because I know that some people get their back up when they hear this. They'll say dyslexia is not a visual issue. Well, there are some that will argue differently, and to the point where in certain countries like mine, and I don't want to say my entire country, I live in Canada, but in my area, from what I'm understanding, most of Ontario, or all of Ontario, does not even use the term dyslexia. I know I never saw the term dyslexia on any IEP as a teacher. When I was still teaching, I saw language-based learning disability. And I know that there's people for like quite a few hours away from me in another end of Ontario who said it was the same situation. And so just to be aware of, it doesn't matter what you think something should be labeled or how it should be diagnosed. The point is to just understand there could be other factors going on here. And basically, vision issues might not be the cause of dyslexia. Like, it might ultimately stem from, poor auditory processing or poor phonemic awareness and so forth. But what we ultimately want to really understand is that there are other factors that come into play, like visual processing issues. And kids with dyslexia, based on several studies, do tend to have poor or different visual processing. So what these studies found is, number one, dyslexics tend to have, number one, decreased sensitivity to visual motion, poor dark adaptation, poor binocular vision, poor visual memory, and also eye movements that were a third of the speed of non-dyslexic readers. So those were the few categories. It was, 5 categories that were studied and determined that this was different among dyslexics and really did not function optimally compared to non-dyslexic readers. And so we have to address that. And so, for some kids, all they really need, yes, is phonological instruction. Eye stuff is perfect, whatever. But what the research is showing is that's not truly, totally the case. And that could ultimately be why you are not seeing results. So if you want your child to be a fluent reader, especially if you've been in tutoring or doing the things for a while and you're not getting where you hope to be by now, you need to understand that it could be that you're not addressing all of the reasons for reading breakdown. And I really, really emphasize a bottom-up approach. If you just dive into vision exercises or vision therapy without addressing primitive reflexes, you're probably going to hit another wall of frustration. I see that all the time where parents say, we were so upset, we put our kid in vision therapy. We thought that would, be the thing, because they definitely had a visual processing disorder and they didn't get the results they hoped for. And maybe they saw okay results. Vision therapy is fantastic, but it's right time, right place. So like in my program, we do vision exercises and we do the LS Works reading intervention, which has all kinds of visual exercises built into the technology. But we do it at the end of the program because all of the research shows that those lower brain levels have to be developed first. The primitive reflexes, the cerebellum development, all of that stuff has to be in check first. So again, it goes back to that right action at the right time. So you need to do a root cause bottom approach, absolutely essential. And that is regardless if your child has poor phonemic awareness, if they have a weak visual system, or if they have both areas of breakdown. And, basically the long and the short of it is that extra practice and reading strategies are not going to cut the mustard if you really want your child to, really move forward. You need to identify what's going on, what's weak, which, by the way, you can grab my advanced brain screening, or you can, and then the second thing you need to do is you need to strengthen through, which I do, my program is, the biochemistry piece, and then the brain training, and then accelerating it with the technology. So all that to say, I'm going to be talking more in the next bit specifically about dyslexia, debunking some myths, diving deeper into root causes, and even going into dyslexia as a spectrum disorder, which people kind of are like, what are you talking about? But you're going to see it's super interesting and super exciting as far as I'm concerned, because when we understand that dyslexics are vulnerable to a whole lot of other health and even cognitive disorders, then we understand we need to have a whole body approach to correcting it. And that's where it gets interesting, because then we know we can actually overcome these issues when we really adopt a whole body, whole brain approach. So if you are interested in knowing more about my 6-month program, the Full Potential Formula, do reach out, book a call. I'll put a link in the comments below, and let me know in the comments below what is going on with your kid. Is it dyslexia? Is it phonemic awareness? Is it both? Is it visual processing disorder? Is it both? Is there other stuff going on as well, other diagnosis? Let me know what's going on with your child. Shoot me some questions. That's how I get ideas for more content, so that I can give you further insight and information of how you can best support your child. Have a great day, everyone.